Pokemon is a lot of things. A non-appealing trading card game, a fast deteriorating anime, and the majority of my childhood gaming, but most importantly perhaps, it is Nintendo's perfect equation for infinite money. The greatest minds in history have been trying to transmute stuff into gold only to have a video game company show them up. That'll teach you to be all sciencey. The equation goes thus. Release a big main series game every few years, new Pokemon to catch, new trainers to fight, regions to explore, villains to beat, post-game content, usually, which will have just about every gamer lining up to throw their money at you without fail. Then use the money to release a slightly different version or reboot which will make them give you more money, then throw a few experimental or mediocre spin-offs their way to keep them occupied for a few years while you work on the next big title. And the money cycle continues. So yeah, in that cycle there are the spin-offs, and they're an interesting case.
Without the sort of pressure that accompanies an anticipated main series game, spin-offs are the opportunity for the willing developer to use the creatures they've made as something a little different, with varied and oftentimes impressive results. Then again, it's also an opportunity for the lazy developer to phone in a subpar game for a quick buck.
Because they figure they don't need to care as much? I don't know. Now, because it's often such a long time between the release of each game, the sort of things that get the Pokemon name slapped on them in the meantime are pretty varied. More so than any franchise I know of. Internet exclusives, WiiWare exclusives, eShop apps, storage systems, it's a mess. Hardly an even playing field. Some can't even qualify as games, so to avoid a whole lot of confusion and a list full of these bottom-of-the-bin thingies, I won't be talking about any of them. Even if some get close to being actual games and are well deserving of a grilling, a line's gotta be drawn somewhere. So I'll be making this easier for myself, and all of us. All I'll be judging are the actual Pokemon console games you can find, buy, look at, and say without a doubt, yes, this is a real, tangible thing with Pokemon's name on it, and it sucks balls. So is everyone clear on the rules? Probably not. I know, but let's get on with it anyway. First on the chopping block is Pokemon Battle Revolution. Since I've gotten cold most of the really bad stuff already, this game actually isn't that bad? No, that's not true. But if I were to pay this game a compliment, I'd say it looks nice. I mean that too. This is probably the best looking Pokemon game we've ever had. The only problem is that's where the substance ends. There simply isn't enough to this game. You have a handful of Colosseums to compete in, which work under slightly different rules from each other. You've got a tournament set up that doesn't affect anything in any meaningful way, one that forces rental Pokemon on you, and one that basically equates to a hearty slap from Lady Luck. Seriously, this is the worst thing ever. Nothing could make you regret training your Pokemon so well than having someone pilfer them and use it against you. And that's all the regular gameplay has to offer. And it's not likely to keep you occupied for very long either way. If you bring in a strong enough team, you could be done with every Colosseum this game has to offer in a matter of hours. And there's no way to set the difficulty level at all. Each Colosseum simply increases in difficulty each time you beat it, which not only means you have to do the same boring stuff over and over again to get a challenge for your strong Pokemon, but also the difficulty levels between Colosseums can get really messy really fast. Picture for a moment you decide to try out a weaker team for fun, but when selecting a Colosseum you have to try and remember, oh right, I beat that one too many times already. How about this one? Oh come on! All I'm saying is, would it kill them to have a definite difficulty level, or at least a way to manually set it? And then there's the online play, which is all well and good until you realize the servers go at a speed that gives Munchlax a chuckle. I mean, come on! It's so slow! Trick Room users wish they could have a Pokemon half as slow as how slow this thing goes. The only other thing you can do is connect your DS's and fight a friend with better graphics, and that's honestly the game's only asset. A Pokemon game with a shiny coat of paint to hide the lack of substance. Kinda like X and Y. Okay, that's unfair. This is a lot worse. Kids may find the whole spectacle appealing, but there's nothing to keep you in the long run, so there's no reason to own it. At all. It's basically obsolete. Generations have moved on, so I doubt there's anyone online anymore, and gameplay-wise you'll find more to do in the PWT alone. A post-game add-on has more content than the entire game. Okay, although that's a little unfair, after all the PWT is the greatest thing ever. But honestly, maybe you could have spent less time making your game look good, and more time giving us cool stuff to do with it. I say spin-offs are a chance for Pokemon games to go into new and interesting territory,
But more often than not it appears to just be a chance to make another completely identical Pokemon puzzle game instead. But fortunately most of them are eShop exclusive content, so I don't have to bother looking at them. That just leaves 3 console games: Pokemon Puzzle League, Challenge, and Troze. Puzzle League looks like Tetris Attack, plays like Tetris Attack, and is made by the same company as Tetris Attack, just with Pokemon as opposed to Mario characters or fairies. And Puzzle Challenge is more or less the same situation, just for Game Boy Color instead. Now, Tetris Attack is relatively fun, or so I'm told, so I guess I can give these two a pass, even if slapping some Pokemon wallpaper on an already existing game shouldn't constitute a Pokemon game in any self-respecting sense. Pokemon Troze, on the other hand, enjoys no such protection.
If you're somehow unfamiliar with those matching 3 or 4 thingies in a row games, I'm very impressed. Also, you're lying. There are so many versions of the exact same game it makes FIFA look like an innovative pioneer. And literally all Troze is another of those games, but with 7 Pokemon heads. I cannot think of a single reason why anyone would ever buy this. You can play the exact same game on the internet for free under like 1,000 different names. Why would you play any of those games either? It's just click, 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 having fun yet? Didn't think so.
Although if the sheer abundance of these games is anything to go on, it'd appear I'm in a minority about this, but I personally will never see the appeal. I just wish I had something more substantial to say or more aspects to comment on, but there's just nothing. What you see right now is all you get with this one.
I'm not sure if I'm being too hard on these games. I mean, at least they function as games, but as a guy who finds puzzle games uninteresting in general, it takes something pretty original to get me to actively want to play one. And I'd call this about as uninspired and unoriginal a Pokemon game as you're ever gonna see. Oh well, maybe Detective Pikachu will give the Pokemon puzzle game scene something new and interesting to.
俺は探偵じゃないぞ。名探偵だ。
Bucking the trend a little, we have a game that's actually a pretty novel idea, that being Hey You Pikachu for N64. The game has you taking care of a Pikachu, playing games with him, exploring, doing missions, etc., and instead of conventional controls, you use an attachable mic to give Pikachu voice commands. Voice controls on an N64 game. I don't know when games started using them consistently, but that sounds like a pretty unique idea for the time. On paper it doesn't sound so bad. It's debatable if this is really a video game in the traditional sense, but if Nintendogs qualifies as a game, then it's not much different to that, I suppose. People love Pikachu, and there's a game where you can interact with him directly. At least kids are bound to love this. Unless, of course, they're too frustrated to play it. A common complaint is, naturally, voice controls being unresponsive and making it hard to get Pikachu to do what you want. I wouldn't know, but I've heard equal instances of people finding voice controls just fine. Say a specific command loud and clear enough, and it almost always works. I mean, even if you may sound like a bit of a moron at the same time. Swing! Swing! Swing!
First try.
How much voice controls are a problem may vary with personal experience, but unfortunately there are a few other things that make it hard to get Pikachu to do what you want. The first issue should come as no surprise. If you think back to the early anime episodes, you'll have a basic idea as to how much Pikachu tends to listen to you. Even if you are at such an age where you actually understand how these controls work inside and out, by which time the prospect of a picnic with Pikachu and friends has become slightly less than thrilling. It'll still take a fair amount of yelling to get Pikachu to engage in whatever boring as hell task you're trying to accomplish. Another significant problem here is the camera. In some parts of the game it'll remain constantly trained on Pikachu, making it nearly impossible to see where you're going or find any of the stuff you're supposed to. But in other instances you can move independently away from Pikachu, in which case you're liable to lose the damn rat. And none of this is helped by the fact that Pikachu is just dumb as shit. Well, I've gotta give Nintendo credit for this. They've certainly replicated the exasperation that trying to control a pet invokes in real life. I'm not really sure how a kid would enjoy the feeling of playing with Pikachu when it's this frustrating. And it's basically just yelling at your TV over and over again anyway. It's almost a shame really, but Hey You Pikachu is one of the most dysfunctional, poorly executed Pokemon games ever. Anyone young enough to enjoy the idea will likely never have the patience to deal with some of this stuff, and older gamers have no reason to want to play it, it's just not interesting enough. Thus concluding our studies once and for all. Pikachu does not make for a good pet.
Shocking, isn't it?
You couldn't resist, could you? Nope. Back when the DS had just come out and touch-screeny stylus controls were a new and alien concept, it would appear Team Nintendo got it into their heads that the best way to show off what their new tech was really capable of was to make a really half-baked game where the stylus is the only method of control, paste one of their most popular mascots on it to trick a few people into actually buying it, and pawn off all the work onto the same little company responsible for Hey You Pikachu. Yeah, Pokmon Dash is... This game is one of the laziest things. It's certainly one of the worst uses of the stylus ever. I admittedly have a personal bone to pick with this game, as 7-year-old me was royally conned into buying it. I thought it would be all Mario Kart-y, with lots of Pokemon to play as, maybe some unique special moves to hinder your opponents, or indeed anything that might put it on par with all the other racing spin-offs that littered his childhood. But just his luck, I was disappointed on all counts. You can only play as Pikachu, the gameplay is repetitive, the graphics are hideous, and the game barely has any controls.
That explains it then.
What do you mean?
You had unrealistic expectations, and now you hate the game because it wasn't what totally you wanted.
Hey now.
And now you're having a little tantrum about it in a YouTube video.
Did you even play the game?
Why?
I said this game barely has control. Let me explain. You swipe the stylus repeatedly in the direction you want Pikachu to run. The faster you do that, the faster he runs. And that's pretty much it. As well as risking to wear a groove in your screen, the gameplay gets boring before you've even finished your first race. But alas, the problems only get worse from there. To make the race slightly less than brain-numbingly boring, the courses are littered with rough terrain to slow you down. But the bird's eye view you're given means you often can't see these obstacles until it's too late. There's a radar function on the top screen, but it becomes practically useless on bigger maps. And even if it wasn't, good luck switching your attention between screens in time to... The frustration and unadulterated confusion is only doubled by the presence of checkpoints scattered about the map that you need to go to in a very specific order in order to win. Some are only reachable by using this balloon skydiving thing, which is about as disorienting as things can possibly get. It would take anyone many tries and a stupid amount of memorization in order to get through these courses. And frankly, if the developers didn't care enough to make a functional game, why should anyone care enough to slave through it? And that's not even thinking about trying to win against AI that actually know where they're going. There maybe was some extra modes nobody got far enough to use, but all that matters here is Pokemon Dash is a lazy, ugly game, littered with design choices that make it almost unplayable, and has left it in overwhelming obscurity where it belongs. Seriously, finding footage for this was near impossible. And it was one hell of a wake-up call to 7-year-old me. There is such a thing as a bad video game, so make sure you actually know what the game is before you buy it. Moron! The Place for Worst spin-off gave me quite a bit of trouble, due in no small part to all the rules I set myself. I mean, what can be bad enough to surpass everything we've seen so far, and still meet all the criteria of being an actual game? I mean, that can't really count. No. Don't think so. You're kidding. Ugh, why did I set myself so many guidelines? I mean, I need a real, actual, concrete example of a bad Pokemon game that you can buy and physically own. There has to be no questioning that it's...
Oh hey, what's this?
Yeah. Pokemon Channel. Part of my whole kerfuffle about what video game should be crowned worst was because I'm slightly hesitant to call this thing a video game. I mean, take a look at some of the stuff I ruled out. Pokemon Channel doesn't have much more substance than them. It works a little bit like Hey You Pikachu, except it was rushed out for Nintendo GameCube, and the main objective is to watch TV with Pikachu. So the idea is, Professor Oak is trying to start up a sort of Pokemon TV channel. There are multiple things you can watch, and the gameplay is split between occasionally interacting with other Pokemon, like you did in Hey You Pikachu, and watching TV. That's literally it. You see my dilemma here. I like to pride myself on knowing what a video game is, and something about this whole thing doesn't quite fit. I don't play video games to watch TV, I watch TV to watch TV. So I guess this is Hey You Pikachu if you take out all the yelling and replace it with watching and waiting. And I don't know if you've guessed, but this stuff you're sitting through isn't exactly Guns of the Patriots brand of engaging. Now I guess that means some children could find enjoyment in this. I mean, kids like TV, right? There are things you can customize your house with, some Pokemon to interact with, and there are a few anime shorts of the Pichu brothers that may entertain someone. That's about all the praise you can give a video game that's just 90% watching stuff. I can guarantee this would bore absolutely anyone after a while. Wanna play Wobba Fett's game show? Why not? But you gotta watch 3 other contestants answer questions of their own first. Also, this just in, a Togepi rolled down a hill the other day.
I see.
Yes, never mind those men dressed as pirates who've been stealing stuff in the next town over. Clearly this stuff was breaking news.
And there you have it. That ends my report from the scene.
Oh, Meowth, what did they do to you? You sound terrible.
He sounds just fine to me.
Ugh. There's even a channel that literally forces you to count sheep. Seriously, look. You thought I was kidding, right? What am I even playing? Can this be considered playing? Who is entertained by this? This is literally what kids do when they want to fall asleep, and they make you do it as part of their gameplay, just counting 50-odd sheep! So you beat the game by watching every episode of Peachy Brothers, and your reward is for Jirachi to show up, and he just lets you watch all this stuff again, but, I don't know, the sky is your TV now? Which is actually not as profound as it sounds. This game may blur the lines between video game and really not, but it meets all the criteria I set for this list, so I guess it's the worst Pokemon game. It's just, at least as far as I can tell. You know, I'm done talking about this. Let's just end this off already. Quickly!